Today we are talking about the difference between portals and stargates and about how an interdimensional portal was created in the pyramid of Giza in Egyptian times, meaning that galactic beings were able to physically come to the earth, and how the ankhs also helped with all of that. Hello everyone, my name is Valeria, and in this channel we talk about spirituality and esoterics. So I am going to talk about stargates first and the difference between stargates and time portals. So stargates are universal chakras, okay? And at the same time, the chakras of life forms like us, for example, are also stargates. So this inner microcosmic chakra and or stargate system of different life forms, including humans, is like completely linked to the macrocosmic stargate and or chakra system of the planetary and galactic and meta-galactic universal cosmoversal realms where the life forms are. This is why we ascend the same way that the Earth does in this case. And this is why if there is damage in the templates of the planet or the galaxy, that also is manifested in the life forms of that planet. And that is what we have been experiencing on Earth. That is why our DNA is mutated in a way and so on. So remember that a chakra is a vortex and they work by forming a Merkaba. And when you understand that, you understand why stargates actually are for different densities. So remember that you have the small Merkabas and then you have the actual Merkaba. With actual, I mean what we understand as a Merkaba, which are like one Merkaba for each density, okay? Which means one density is 3 dimensions, okay? So they allow you to move from one density to the other. Then a stargate is vertical. A stargate is also a time portal, but vertical. And then a time portal is horizontal and diagonal. And this is like the main difference, okay? So portals allow for this passage between these space-time locations in one universe or one density level. So, for example, you can move to the past or the future of the Earth, but only within the first density, so mostly the third dimension, but in different times, and different locations. And then stargates are formed by these vertical pairs of the dimensional system. So stargates allow for this passage between space and time locations, uh, also, but in multiple density levels. So you can move through different densities. For example, thanks to a stargate, you can move from dimension number 3 to dimension number 6, for example, which are different densities, right? One is in the first density and the other is on the second density. This is why, for example, we have this blue flame that was working as a time portal structure. The portal of this sphere, and the idea was that this part of the morphogenetic field of the Earth in fifth dimension was able to be returned to this Earth that we are on right now, and some souls could come back, to their original identity. and these portals were like this wrap in time, and these portals were again these dimensional passages. And when we consider all these portals, or in this case stargates, you need to be able to pass through those stargates to really ascend from this reality of dimensions, you know. So this is why understanding our DNA is super important. I am going to share an image of stargates and time portals. But yes, the time portal in general, they look like these flat two-dimensional circles, and they are light or dark, and they are shimmering, you know. They are flat black holes in a way. Um, they don't span different densities like stargates do. So, stargates and portals are like pairs of black and white holes. This is really the science of stargates, that you have a black and a white hole, and that is why you are able to pass through that. So, they have like this seal in the center, and when the seal releases, the stargate activates, and it has a lot to do with your DNA, if the seal is going to be released or not. And when that happens, it's like these spirals start to be activated, and then you can pass through different space time coordinates. So, these stargates are these sets of black and white holes. Then, if you are wondering about the black holes, like what we understand as a black hole, we have also these black holes that are inorganic and natural, you know. Um, you can recognize them because they don't rotate, they are just holes, and but things can rotate around them. Actually, they are kind of magnetic. You know, they are death really. So you can spot this in different parts. If you are clairvoyant, you can spot this sometimes in the energetic fields of people, in your own energetic field, maybe. And of course, if you are working with stargates and you are kind of aware of that, you can truly spot this. I have seen like implants with this black death thing. And there are other parts of this technology that are rotating around the main implant. So it is important to recognize them and to recognize where there is a stargate or a time portal. And when you understand that, from this point in your life, then, if you want to really ascend or move through different stargates when this is available for us, it is going to be a lot easier for you. So, I want to also talk about how this great pyramid in Egypt worked as an intergalactic portal for beings. This is super amazing actually, so I made this picture to help you understand better. The original pyramid was designed as this harmonic resonance chamber. For example, from Sirius B, these frequency bands were drawn to the through the ankh that was located under the top of the pyramid, and these super ultra high frequencies were brought and projected then down the pyramid, okay, to the second dimension, because this was this portal to the inner earth. So that is second dimension. And at the same time, the pyramid was in the vortex that represented the heart chakra of the earth of those times. Now it is different. So then there was this energetic exchange between the earth and the frequency bands of the fourth dimension, you know. So we had this combination of frequencies from dimension number 2, or the first density, and then the second density because of dimension number 4. So there was a resonance, and that is a stargate, okay? This interdimensional resonance, and so then the chips or craft from Sirius B and other star systems were able to enter almost instantaneously to the Earth, and this was the original intention of this Great Pyramid, that these Syrian beings were able to come immediately if we were under some kind of attack from Anunnaki or other beings. We had this ankh like positioned, below the capstone, that was really crystalline, and then the energy was drawn to the capstone and through the ankh was projected downward, down into the second dimensional bands because of the inner earth. So the pyramid was on the inner earth and at the same time on the heart chakra. So this is like 50,000 years ago. This great pyramid was built, and it was like this galactic teleportation station. It was used until like 30,000 years ago, when there was this explosion in Atlantis and the earth changed its axis. So the heart chakra vortex changed our alignment with Sirius B. You know, it wasn't aligned with Sirius B anymore. And then the pyramid was realigned to create some harmonic resonance link, but now with Pleiades, okay, through Alcyone. So this is why probably most people now resonate a lot with Pleiadian and Syrian beings. And also, as an extra fact, at this time the pyramid was used as an ascension chamber, and some beings, priests and priestesses mostly, were able to ascend again to the fifth dimensional Earth. These civilizations on the Earth were prospering, again, and connecting with these galactic beings, but then remember that we have these crystal generators, and then these crystal generators were used for torturing people and beings, really, by these dark priests, especially. And there was this period of genetic experiments, and these dark priests were really trying to hold this power, and that was happening on Atlantis. And this is when we hear about these weird genetic experiments, that they were doing weird things like mixing DNA and mixing human DNA with animal DNA and so on. Remember that then this explosion in Atlantis happened because of the crystal generators that exploded. So then the Syrian beings, the Syrian Council, removed the crystal generators from the earth. And these technological capacities of humanity decreased a lot because we didn't have access to the blue flame, okay, to the ultra high frequencies anymore. uh, okay, so the access to this blue flame was placed under security seals, so we were not able to draw the energies anymore, and at the same time the ankhs were prohibited from being used on the surface of the earth, okay? Some beings that were in the inner earth only were able to use them. And it is not that we lost our potential because of not having contact with ET or galactic beings anymore, okay? It was because we lost our access to the fifth dimensional frequencies, okay? It is not that we were dependent on ET beings, okay? That is super important to understand. Okay, so the two factors that were important for this teleportation intergalactic portal to work were the ankh that was in the Great Pyramid, because this one allowed for the energies to be moved in certain ways, and at the same time the access that we had to ultra high frequencies, and especially this mix of fourth and second dimensional frequencies that were like the pyramid was placed on, because it is thanks to that that this kind of stargate was created, uh, and it is thanks to that also that beings from other dimensions and also from other densities were able to come, you know. For example, Syrian and Pleiadian beings were on the second density, while we were on the first density. Okay, so we also want to really understand the blue flame. Okay, so if you want to know more about the blue flame and the passages and the earth in the fifth dimension, you can watch this video in which I explain the basics of that, so you can understand better all of these videos, you know, all of this content. So thank you so much for being here today. I really hope you enjoyed this video.